the University in Korea, I myself. And first of all, I would like to express our warm welcome to you. We are very grateful you can come to visit our university and give a seminar. I know the original plan is we will ask Professor Hong to give 2 seminars. Then Professor Lin wants to extend the entire program to a mini workshop. So in this afternoon, we'll have a discussion about the simulation, and Professor Lin told me we were going to show you our not good results, our bad results. They're very bad results. So whether we can solve the problem. And so, in probably would like to invite Professor Lin to give Professor Sui to give a brief introduction.
Well, actually, I know Professor Hong when I was in Garden. You were in NSET.
Right.
So I know he's a young and very energetic scientist. So once I think we invite you to give a talk in Garden, I think talk about the problem with topography in the regional model.
Right.
So you have like the boundary condition imposed on the better boundary condition. It's normally from the coast general situation, coast resolution GCM.
Right.
But the high resolution regional model, then you have to take care of the inconsistency in the boundary. So it is very good complication. Yeah. So I think Professor Hong actually graduated from Seoul National University, and actually I think Seoul National University has produced many excellent PhDs. So people like Professor Hong are doing postdoc in the U.S. and performing very good research. So I think he has been working with GCM people, regional modeling people on various aspects of the numerics, computational, and physics of the modeling. So he actually, I think, did a lot of work in different areas. So I think since he returned to Korea, I think he's working with the KMA and various people still maintaining international collaborations. So I think he's really hands-on scientist working on the model. So I think we really have to, how should I say? I think we should do better. And I think we have to work harder to compete with Professor young people, I think. So I think he will give us talks on what his recent activities. Bad model actually is sometimes very educational, very useful. Perfect model result, you're probably just analyzing the data itself. You still have to look into what the process is, what gives you the phenomenon, what produces the variability. So a bad model actually sometimes gives you problems, and you have to think what caused the problem. During the process, I think you can open and learn more than working on a perfect model. So with this, I think let's Professor Hong talk about his research. Let's welcome him again.
Very much. It's my great pleasure to be here. I have a good friend of mine for collaboration for a long time, whose name is Henry Zhang. Welcome to be here. He has been working with me for a long time, more than 15 years. Today's topic is a little bit different from what I presented in the international workshop, but this is the area I studied for a PhD. But I'm reluctant to revisit because my knowledge is stopped about 15 years ago. But I will try to give some. This talk is supposed to be in the Blood Many Institute, so that I didn't put many sciences here. There are some sciences in the afternoon talk. By the way, this is my name in Chinese. I'm going to talk about tropical cyclone in South China and the heavy rainfall over Korea. This is much of heavy rainfall over Korea, often associated with tropical cyclone landed in South China. Second one is heavy rainfall on July 12, 2006. There was above normal preparation of northern part, north of Seoul city. there is a operator forecast totally failed. So it caused a lot of societal impact. At the same day, there was a typhoon approached Taiwan. So there was the same day there were two heavy rainfalls. Third one is comparison of heavy rainfall mechanisms of geographic different regions. So third one is has a little science. Okay, this is master thesis from Mr. Kim. There's a in the July and September, August, there was a heavy rainfall over Korea. Most of the time directly related to the frontal middle latitude frontal systems. Often they observe that this heavy precipitation occurs in association with the tropical cycle landed in the South China, but indirectly affected. We can expect that there is if a tropical cyclone dissipates South China, then it brings the warm, moist air transport to the Korean Peninsula, so that tropical air mass, middle at cold air mass, has some link. This is we define remote tropical cyclone effect. This is a kind of indirect effect, but when the tropical cyclone approach South China and dissipate. Before dissipating, there is still remote high TC effect, and then some direct effect. We removed the cases that are directly affected by tropical cyclones approaching Korea. So that I'm going to focus on this effect. Then, what if a tropical cyclone does not exist? Is it that still heavy rainfall occurs in the Korean Peninsula? That's the main question. This is the case statistical summary of heavy rainfall events of Korea. There was 121 cases. Here, heavy rainfall defined by 150 millimeters per day. This is a precipitation intensity. Daily precipitation is 150 millimeters, 250, 350, over 350. It's a number of frequencies. This orange line is not affected by typhoons at all. And this green bar is the remotely affected by typhoon landed in South China. So that in terms of intensity, about 70% of the heavy precipitation that is whose daily precipitation amounts more than 350 millimeters associated with the typhoon landed in South China. But this is very difficult to predict. If the tropical cyclone directly affects, then we can expect in the one-day advance from the cellular images, radar images. This is one example. It's a precipitation map. Maximum is about 351 millimeters. And then this is the hourly precipitation. And there is a banded radar images show that the heavy precipitation just the west of Seoul. At the time, middle latitude trough front located here, adding cold front southwestward and the warm front eastward. There's a tropical cyclone. It's very weak. It's not that. It's almost a tropical storm. That this one is approaching the South China, so that these two elements totally separated. So that in order to see the impact of a tropical cyclone, we applied GFDL focusing algorithms. So that then we can control the intensity of a typhoon in South China. So that you know the GFDL focusing algorithm has a disturbance wind and a non-TC effect. And this is an asymmetric wind from the GFDL model. And then add this vortex into the basic field. Then we can get the enhanced typhoon structure. This is MM5 model, the very standard setting. This is the result. Central pressure This is 980 millibar and 1000, 970, 960 loop PC. This is the control experiment. 980 millibar was the observed central pressure for the Typhoon. That we were able to reproduce this heavy fluctuation. Maximum amount is closer to the observation. Also, banded structure reproduced very well. Without that cyclone at all, then we get corresponding fluctuation is very weak. We don't see heavy fluctuation, which means that this southwesterly flow surrounding this dissipating tropical cyclone transport warm and moist air into the peninsula, bringing convective instability over the Korean peninsula. The one interesting thing is that what about if intensity is stronger than the observation? Then it's a 960 millibar. In that case, fluctuation is very weak over the observed area. Instead, there's heavy fluctuation occurs in North Korea, which means that if the tropical cyclone is intense than this, then tropical cyclone has some energy keep moving to the inland China. So that is in the case, the link is not very well correctly linked between tropical cyclone, tropical air mass, and the middle latitude trough. So there is kind of optimized intensity. This is one example, so that this is the one first conclusion. This is China is essential. Also, the second correct simulation of tropical cyclone is successful heavy flow over Korea. We can say that the correct simulation means not only the regional model, also but the global model focused. Third one is there's optimal intensity of the tropical cyclone to link the tropical air mass and the middle latitude frontal cyclone. Second one is heavy fluctuation Goyang in last year, July 12th. Goyang located about 20 kilometers of Seoul City. It's a residential area. At the day that the KMA focused at the most 40 millimeters per day, but the observed one is about 400 millimeters, 10 times. So that is a lot of troubles. But this road is Chunchew, NTU, and this road helped a lot. This is a method thesis of Mr. Lee. Now he is defending his Friday. It's a very new one. July 12th, there's an automatic weather station fluctuation shows about 400 millimeters in the area. So still east-west course. This is the KMA regional data metric system, which is based on MM5. Produced fluctuation about this. Less than 10 millimeters was of South Korea, and more fluctuation in North Korea. So it's no wonder KMA doesn't produce any heavy fluctuation in South Korea based on this forecast. This is our fluctuation. As you can see that it's a lot of troubles every day. Here today, before the fluctuation, there's a weak tropical cycle, weak middle latitude front. Actually, there was a fluctuation previous day, and then front looks like it dissipated over the Korean peninsula. But suddenly there is a locally driven convection. We thought it is associated with the tropical cycle over here, approaching Taiwan. And the same day, there is a heavy fluctuation over Taiwan too. Okay, let's look at this. It's a north-south cross-section. The vertical wind speed divergence. Okay, so this is very typical structure for the heavy fluctuation over Korea. It's a convergence zone and then rising motion, the cold air above the warm air from the south. And then we set up the warp model This is different from MM5. As it's a very standard model setup, one NST. We used to answer final analysis. This domain 3 has a 3 km resolution. You may see that domain is relatively smaller, right? I will show you the reason. Then we have a very nice fractation compared to the observation. Maximum amount is about 300 millimeters, still smaller than the 400 millimeter, but is quite close. Also, band structure is much different from the operational forecast. At the point that there's a maximum fractation, we have observation is a gray thick line. We have a 1, 2, 3 period. Model did not correctly reproduce this, but there's a tendency that third line is a 1, second, and third. So we're going to verify this, the model simulation. This is a Doppler single radar observation. It's an observation. It's not perfectly matched for the 3 rainfall period, but it's quite well observed. First peak, second peak, third peak. First peak was more likely associated with local convection. After the second peak was like a banded structure. Third peak is kind of when dissipated the practicing system. Model also show this convective activity. This is a 50 millibar radar reflectivity. And this banded structure very well reproduced. Also this lined, straight lined convective activity also reproduced. This means the WAP model is did a pretty good job, even in the very high resolution. This is the verification surface. This observation, this model, in the surface where the stationary server. Rain is dashed and dot, like this. Rain starts about the 11/18, and then it is quickly increased like this. Model also produce this sharp increased fractation. Associated rainfall that there is pressure drops. When the fractation starts, pressure drops. This tendency also reproduced. Then temperature is dropped. When fractation starts, this is also reproduced. So that's even the point observation also very reproduced. So yeah, I will skip this. And then we made many sensitive experiments to get this result. First thing is that we started the large domain experiments. We applied the progressing technique and 3D radar simulation, all failed. This is what I showed. Yeah? Control experiment has a small domain to produce well. The large domains has a pattern band located way to the south. This is the first, if we increase domain a little larger, still has this problem. The reason is that the WAP model, that is kind of predictability. The WAP model produces some weak low-level jet. If the small domain, we use the large information from the final analysis, and the final analysis, which is more correct than the WAP forecast. So that in the small domain, we are able to reproduce this, but in the larger domain, the southwest flow, also related to typhoon structure, doesn't provide enough strength of a low-level jet, providing the warm moist air to the peninsula. That's the one. As I said, there is a heavy precipitation associated with typhoon Billis. Yeah. the very same day. This is local time, so you cannot measure, but between 11:00 and 12:00, about 100 millimeters to the northeastern part of Taiwan. This is a track of Typhoon Felix. The same large domain, and then this is Taiwan domain here. This domain is about 3 kilometer resolutions. We apply that focusing system to get the intensity correct for the typhoon. Basically, we adapted the MM5 GFTL focusing, which was implemented by my student. And we applied this GFTL focusing into the work model. And then apply the 4-dimensional data simulation to get the mass field balanced. There are some other things to be done. That the same procedure I showed in the MM5. Work system and the focus. Focus means run the axisymmetric model using the GFTL model, and then get the window field, focus the window field. Then obtain the corresponding mass field using the work 40 day, then run the model. And then we apply that the DASTA, drop into the observation for typhoon to get the type intensity correct. That this work was totally done by the help of Professor Wu. This is a drop into the data simulation. We apply the observation, and then we put the MM5 format and the work facility bar and modify user period. This impact control is without any improvement of typhoon. It's same to the analysis and the final analysis. Focusing is applied the focus the vortex using the GFTL model. That experiment means drop into the data, use the data simulation work facility bar. Okay. This is a sea level pressure of a control run. And this is the after focusing. This is the difference between the focusing and the control. So you can see that. Sorry, that is the wind field is the differences. You can see that some cyclonic rotation, and then intensity is stronger than the control. And then that experiment. Apply that drop into the wind on the data. Then you can see that the cyclone flow is further enhanced. For the test, this is the observed the passage track. Control and some zigzag test. It doesn't come too much. Both algorithm doesn't show this zigzag test. Applying the right general simulation is better than the control. Intensity-wise, control runs produce weaker intensity. Observed track is light gray lines in here. Up to 24-hour focus experiment did a quite good job. That experiment produced further enhanced. After 24 hours, somehow it is further intensified, that observation. But combine this intensity and the track, you can say the focusing and driving the data simulation improve the typhoon forecast. This is a practice of Taiwan. Control experiment produced less than 100 meter. Focusing slight increase. There is about green line is about 130 millimeter. Here, that experiment produced about 200 millimeter. So closest to observation. very quickly finishing. This is that is the type of simulated experiment. I'm going to talk about other high-tech weather experiment in the discussion time after the seminar. This is the subject I have searched for such a long time, and this area is my PhD about 15 years ago, and then submit the paper in the Marshall Field Review and rejected it 3 times, and then gave up, and then tried again in the 10 years later I finished, and then finally got the paper here. And the same subject, very same subject, but now in the about late 80 or early 1990, it is not easy to run the model with the different initial conditions, very limited. So there is not much communications between US and other places. This is a very well recognized heavy paper over US pioneered by Dalin Zhang. It's an early paper starting from 1986. He showed the scale focus is possible given the proper setting of model and even with the conventional observation data. For example, MM4 with the conventional data we produce observed major data scale structure successfully. You can see that is major high and major low in the stratum regions. And also model reproduce this major scale structure very well. The most important thing is the model setup is that both convective parameter scheme and the Franz cloud scheme is crucial to the success of preventing so-called ill-posed problem having numerical point system. This Dalin study can guidance the future development of multi-scale model in research and operation focus. It's here, yeah. But I set up the MM4 in the 20 years ago, and then applied this same model setup, but didn't get the presentation at all. It's totally different from the observation. Instead, without convective parameter scheme, we were able to reproduce heavy precipitation. It is a long time ago. It's observation and there's a study, but this is the first simulation I made about 20 years ago. There's a heavy precipitation over here, and it is MM4 simulation. But here, what much different thing is that we did not include the cumulus parameter scheme. If the cumulative observed precipitation is now close to about 200 millimeters, but if we apply that, include the cumulus parameter scheme, maximum precipitation is less than 10 millimeters. So that there should be something different between the different mechanisms for the convective system that develops geographically different regions. So that afraid that this is so that we use the MM4 20 kilometer north precise display scheme with ice microphysics only. We put the MM4 very well. This is my PhD thesis. And then it's the same case. There's a precipitation, maximum precipitation 400 millimeters and 150. Of course, the maximum precipitation is smaller, but it's quite well reproduced. In the case if we apply that cumulus parameter scheme, it did not produce at all. So that I thought that there is something different for the mechanisms. So that synaptically strong environment, dynamically small, also no major low field flow jet. Also, we had a deep, absolutely unstable layer. Now, this was the major reason the papers rejected, kind of error in the model setup. So that Now, it's in 2002, you can see that the paper is a Brian Fritsch show that this is a real deep absolute instability, so-called fifth kind of instability in the atmosphere instability. So there's a contradiction. So that, but there is the reason that Korean KMA started to run the NM4 since early 1990. Then, but with the chemotherapy scheme, forecast is always worse than without it. But the physical reasoning and theoretical backup is not very well set up. Now things have made changes. Chemotherapy scheme also improved for past 10 years, and the science also improved so that the disadvantage in not including that is less important than including it in the current stages. And then I attack this problem again, because now we are global data is available analysis. Also, model set is pretty easy. So then I applied the 2 heavy rainfall cases over the United States and Korea. Over the United States, actually, this is heavy rainfall, but the precipitation amount is not very much, but still, we call that it's heavy precipitation. Very same cases. They used the RSM as a regional spectrum model, and the 50 kilometer, and the inner red box 25 kilometer. Exact same configuration except for the longitude. Then I applied the different physics in the model for 2 cases. You know that chemotherapy scheme, we call implicit scheme in the mesosphere area, remove convective instability. And the explicit scheme, what we simply call cloud scheme, remove supersaturation. It's a totally different mechanism to produce precipitation. Then we made experiments like this. Convective parameterization cloud scheme. 1 is dynamic cloud, 3 is a Planck cloud. In the mesoscale area, this is the CP underbar 3 is the standard model setup by M5 or whatever, of model. Another extreme case is doesn't include any explicit scheme. Here, only convective parameterization scheme included. No CP means the no CPS scheme. And then we compared this, and then investigate relative importance, and then evaluate the result of precipitation against observation. Then we can extract the importance of this convective instability or large-scale portion. This kind of this is the result. I showed that only 25 kilometer resolutions. This is the observation. Computing. Okay, upper is US case, bottom is the Korean case. Center is the observation. Maximum precipitation amount of 55 millimeter in observation. And the Korea maximum amount is 371 millimeter. When we exclude explicit scheme, which means doesn't include any kind of supersaturation removal, the precipitation of the US still reproduce this much of the observable. Maximum over here, usually observed precipitation is not one, but it's still reproduced. But over Korea, it's completely lost. But on the other hand, when we did not include the cumulative convection scheme over Korea, precipitation is still reproduced. But over the United States, it's totally wrong forecast. Its practical amount is more than 10 times. This is what many papers of the model study of the United States suggest. This is kind of a yield-posed problem in the meso-scale model. If we do not have enough removal of condition instability, then large-scale condensation takes over that low-level supersaturation. Then it quickly produce absolute instability. Then producing a positive feedback between surface convergence and lead heating and upper level divergence. Then producing a numerical point storm. That's what we saw. But for the Korean case, it's quite different. It's still smaller than the observation. Also, banded structure is well maintained. So, previous finding of US is confirmed. Also, both are confirmed. Then next one is what are the major differences to regions? It can be applicable to the, obviously we cannot examine all the heavy rainfall events. So climate control, that is the question. So that I decided to evaluate the summertime climatology. This is CMAP precipitation between 1979 to 2001. So the precipitation is about the same latitude, the East Asia, and this is Great Plains. Precipitation amount is smaller, but it's still much over here. Then we analyze the climatology over this region. This is the climate aspect and Selenka realities, May, June, July, August. Over Korea, wind speed as a jet, upper level jet, 20 millibar. Over the United States, there is a jet, but much weaker than the East Asian region. This is very important. Moisture energy is over the United States. This amount is kind of a cape. Condition unstable. But over Korea, it's almost neutral. Over the in terms of relative humidity, it's much larger than the United States in Korea. That means the environment is different and causing mechanism is different. So the difference is stronger biochemistry, less cape, also moist column is moister. Also, I didn't say that low level jet strength located of 7 millibar over the East Asia. On the other hand, low level is very confined near the surface over the United States. So they applying that cumulus convection scheme a long time ago do not represent this. And next question is that it's unique. This is very difficult to answer. So that I analyzed that very rough. It is not included in the paper. This is my. I just plotted the ratio of convective precipitation. Convective precipitation is due to the cumulus convection scheme, and this is ratio over the globe. Then you can see that the red shading is over 90% is due to the cumulus convection scheme. That means convective instability is the major mechanism causing heavy precipitation. This area is different. Yeah. This area mostly large-scale supersaturation because of colder regions.
How do you define convective?
This is the convective precipitation is the output of the model. Yes, to the convective precipitation. If we look into more detail, the July July is the monsoon period over Korea. See that this is the one example that precipitation amounts a lot over Korea, but about relatively very little percent of, from the convective precipitation, which means monsoon precipitation over this region is less convectively unstable environment. But over Taiwan is more likely due to the convective precipitation. I think this is the major reason that when I talked to Bill Kuo, he always said that we cannot remove the convection skin. He always saying that. But when I talked to the Japanese people, they said something different mechanisms. But there is a very difficult communication between Korean and Taiwan scientists in the area. But there is some agreement between Korea and the Japanese. So maybe unique, somehow unique. It's in the mic talk.
Yeah, because you showed there are 3 stages of different precipitation types in Korea area. One is in the beginning is more convective, then finally become very fine line, parallel. So because you have a model, so you can diagnostic the stability. During the third stage, what kind of stability?
Third stage, we don't know that.
Parallel look like symmetric stability or something else.
Yeah. We
But
don't look at
you
it.
have all the data, so you can diagnose
Right.
the kind of instability of that.
Yeah.
And you expect that, yes,
In
that's
the
true.
in the beginning, we tried to some efforts investigate the mechanism, but it's very difficult. So that change it to the focus on the predictability, the evaluation of the evaluation and predictability.
But all the data is still in
Yeah,
there,
sure.
so you can
Yeah, right. But certainly,
you could do so well.
this is very difficult to be validated, but this one is more likely locally driven.
Yeah.
We verified in the weight analysis and also applied the class analysis. This is more likely locally driven comet type. This is more likely banded structure.
Yeah.
Large
Large
scale.
scale.
Yeah, right.
But I'm interested in other
Yeah, it's a very locally reproduced, but it's
Any question from PhD student?
Okay, can I ask another
yeah,
question?
sure.
In the beginning, you said you have a link with this optimal typhoons
right,
intensity with the Korea rainfall.
Yeah.
If you're too strong or too weak, you cannot produce.
Yeah.
That's in the model. But in the observation, you also set up the relation, like the
In the observation, we cannot.
prediction rule.
It's not able to set up that because we cannot change the reality. But the operation focused period is. So they watch that the tropical cyclone is approaching Taiwan. But in some cases, middle front is strong, but the heavy rainfall do not occur. Some cases what? Yeah. So that it depends on they always keep eye on this cyclone is taking the South China, but
So no statistics.
no statistics, no. Yeah.
Concerning the difference in the processes producing heavy rainfall in the U.S. and Korea, I think is in terms of instability and the processes that are controlling the precipitation process, there are definitely some differences, very clear differences, I think, in different regions.
Yeah.
But the conclusion about explicit scheme and implicit scheme, is that conclusion the resolution dependent?
Yeah, there's a lot of issues in the resolution issues. First, but yeah, that's the reason I added the climatological analysis. Yeah, because the purpose of this experiment is not the necessity of a specific schema or not. It is to diagnose the mechanisms. Because we cannot do this. We cannot remove express scheme or express scheme in the model. But we can get some information from the sensitive experiments. This kind of a research tool.
Yeah, because when the resolution gets increasing and increasing,
Yeah.
like to
right.
say 15 kilometers,
Yeah.
then how do you define implicit and explicit? Maybe everything should be explicit, or explicit should be dominant.
Yeah, but the 20 kilometer resolution is the one very same resolution over the United States for major beta scale simulation. Of course, in the resolution down to 5 kilometer, then 1 kilometer, then we don't need the implicit scheme. On the other way around, that the resolution greater than precise greater than 200 kilometer in the GCM, we don't have this kind of explicit representation. There's a lot of issues, but we can define this because measure scale about 300 kilometers. And this grid side is the optimized side we can investigate.
Should be depend on the different scheme you
Yeah.
use, right? Also.
Different eyes.
Yeah.
So each try different kind of implicit
Oh,
schemes.
okay.
In Korea, still you don't need it, right? You only need.
No, we need it. Now, it's, as I said, it's much different from about 20 years ago. All the schemes are very much improved.
Yeah.
Very improved. So now we need this.
You need it.
Okay, need it. But this is the kind of relative importance in the causing mechanism. Yeah, very important.
So the explicit scheme still important in Korea.
Of course. Yeah.
When you're talking about 20 kilometers,
Yeah.
During your second talk, you say the KMS models fail to predict the
Right,
heavy
right.
rainfalls.
Right.
Well, why it failed in the first place? Then the second question is the same question.
Uh-huh.
Then which part of the Wolf model you think is critical, can do the job right?
Okay. This one is the MM5. We can, there's two differences, model differences between MM5 and Wolf model. The other one is initial and boundary condition for this K-mean operator forecast. K-mean operator forecast, that means K-mean operator forecast from the global model is buried to reproduce large-scale features compared to the NSET model forecast. That's the major differences. We had many sensitivity experiments. I don't know if it. I think I removed this. This is kind of a different initial and boundary conditions. We did not include the KMA global focus, but when we use the European center data, there's a much stronger, very organized band structure, but we feel that it's a little too much. We may control this. But that is the most important. Of course, the model dependency is important. Normally, MM5 is a very like features in the resolution less about 2 or 3 kilometers based on another features.
As you said, the model presentation system has been improved a lot in the mesoscale models. Yeah. However, most of the physical process is well tuned according to the United States environment.
Right.
And you said maybe the Asia environment is quite different
Right.
between the different from the United States.
That's
So,
yeah.
for example, in Wolf model, what do you think? What is the major issues we have to address to improve the physical process?
Okay, this is exactly that. All the schemes are developed and validated over this region. Yeah, right? almost all the convection scheme applied is campus one. If we apply campus scheme over the other places, normally not working very well compared to other scheme. For example, triple convection. That's the reason the operational model, the scheme developed operation center normally works better than research community. For the work model, you can see that there's a for this convection scheme I showed, that is that first we apply that in the US, and apply the East Asia, and also my collaborator Kuala Lumpur, apply to Taiwan. If both succeeded and moved to the US. So that's the reason it's always working okay. For the work model, the same thing happened that I firstly applied the scheme into the heavy rain, heavy snowfall over East Asia. If it satisfied and then provide the code to the anchor so that they tested it over the United States at the real-time basis. If some problem, the apply again a feedback. So that's the strategy we are doing. So that we generally, of course, we will be very careful, but we consider this all these different aspects as possible as we can.
But I think in recent papers like Mason in the BAMS, they developed a new regional model at the CFDL, and they perform long-term integration for the typhoon simulation, kind of reanalysis, using nudging model, or maybe with nudging. So in their case, I think it's 18-kilometer solution, and they didn't include any cumulus parameterization, just prognostics.
Yeah.
So if you carefully design your scheme, at least maybe in the tropics where the convective system dominates, maybe cumulus parameterization can be, I think, can be reduced or removed.
Yeah, right. I think tropical cycle is also a different mechanism because self-development, the virtual convergence and the rapid healing and the warming and the overall divergence. In the case, the air column is nearly saturated. If we apply the cumulus scheme that is not very good, then it quickly neutralized, stabilized. Then intensity of the cyclone is worse than without cumulus scheme. But if, on the other hand, if we make the convection scheme considering those effects, those considerations, it should reproduce that better than without it. Yeah, I think now much improved than before.
So how to optimize use the microphysics scheme and the cumulus parameter
I
scheme?
think that's the long
based on your
story.
experience for the high weather simulation here.
Firstly, experience is the most important. Experience means I was very lucky in experiencing that the operational stuff, and then get the finding of some scientific evidence. Scientifically based approach is a less chance to be failed. Second is physically based. Somebody say tuning, but I don't like the tuning, the name of tuning. If you have the tuning, then it may work in this case, the other case failed. Yeah. So that also knowledge of observational data analysis, that is the most important. Instead of modeling paper itself, always think about what happens in nature.
Any question or comment? 学生有没有问题啊？很多simulation 这种。好，严厉啊。
我想请问一下，因为我是我2周
好了。
就是刚才他有一个是用那个过模拟雷达或者是模拟雷达，那他是把观测跟模拟两个做比较，他怎么知道说观测的那一块相当于是相的，他还把它分开，就是有一张
位置上怎么对？
对啊，因为像我自己如果要判断的话，那是不是还是需要其他的？
Yeah, her question is, when you compare your work model and real observation with radar and with reflectivity, you show two cross-section. But how to decide which cross-section you're going to select on the model to compare with the real data?
Yeah.
Because the different stage probably involved.
Right.
Really same
She encountered the
cross
same
section
problem.
a little bit.
It's kind of arbitrary in that sense. But it's the best way is that the average
Oh,
from the
average, yeah.
preparation.
Yeah.
For example, that's what it is. For example, if you have a north-south cross-section,
Cross-section, yeah.
then you have an average some in this region. Some sort of longitudinal range average.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, any question?
Okay.
Yeah, thanks Professor Wang again. 下午2点在另外一个 seminar room 哈，另外有一场演讲，然后3点呢有一个 general discussion。